you're working with a buyer and they find a home to buy, and in that neighborhood there is an HOA or homeowners association, and you as the buyer's agent, you want to help your buyer with their due diligence by understanding what the HOA covenants, conditions, and restrictions are when purchasing a home in this neighborhood. Hi everybody, Dana Sparks, broker of Maximum One Greater Atlanta Realtors and the director of the Real Estate Academy of America. And today's video tip has to do with how you as a buyer's agent can help your buyer with their due diligence in finding out and understanding the CCR covenants, conditions, and restrictions of a community. So let's back up a little bit and let's talk about the contract in and of itself. So when a buyer goes under contract for a property that is governed by an HOA, there is a community association disclosure exhibit that should be attached as an exhibit to the purchase and sale agreement. And the Georgia Association of REALTORS form for this is GAR F322 Community Association Disclosure Exhibit. I've done a previous video on this and had a lot of interest, so I'm going to do a couple more videos on community associations. So in Georgia, there are a lot of different types of communities with HOAs. There are residential neighborhoods that have HOAs, in addition to condominiums and townhomes that also have HOAs. Regarding this form, it is the community association disclosure. Part of this does disclose all sorts of finances and money that is involved for a buyer and a seller when they go under contract to convey title for a property with an HOA, regardless if it is a residential neighborhood, so to speak, or a condominium. It's its own fee simple or condominium. But the first part is you describe the property, and there are directions to the seller how to fill out this disclosure. But today's video has to do with the buyer side. And in this exhibit in and of itself, the second paragraph is buyer's use of disclosure. While this disclosure is intended to give the buyer basic information, I lost my place, sorry about that. While this disclosure is intended to give the buyer basic information about the community in which the buyer is purchasing, buyers should read the covenants and other legal documents for the community, quote, covenants, to fully understand buyer's rights and obligations therein. This disclosure, meaning the exhibit, does not address all issues that may affect buyer as the owner of a residence in the community. Assessments in community associations tend to increase over time. The covenants can normally be amended to reflect the changing preferences in the community. So, first thing you should do as an agent is make sure that your buyer understands they need to read and understand the covenants, conditions, and restrictions governing that property in that neighborhood. They need to get them that as part of their due diligence. You as the agent, however, can facilitate your buyers. You can get these CCRs for your buyer so that they have the opportunity to review them and understand them, again, prior to their due diligence. So if there's something they don't agree to, they have the opportunity to terminate and protect their earnest money. So where do you get them? Well, there's a lot of information in Georgia regarding HOAs. And one of the things to understand as an agent and to help your buyer understand is that these homeowners associations, there's a couple of things going on. There's typically a homeowners association, and depending on how large that association is, There may additionally be a management company that manages that HOA. HOA stands for Homeowners Association. In Georgia, as well as federal, there are federal laws, in addition to state laws, that do govern the operation and management of common interest communities in Georgia. There are very specific ones regarding if it is a condominium. For example, there is the Georgia Condominium Act. And in license law, in our, not license law, but in our Georgia laws, the Georgia Georgia Code annotated the law books that govern everything we do in Georgia, civil laws, criminal laws, traffic laws, trade laws. There is there is information, and there is there's an Apartment Ownership Act, and there is Georgia Property Owners Association Act, and there is the Georgia Nonprofit Corporation Code, as well as fair housing laws, so forth and so on. So there is a lot of information, and there are a lot of laws that do govern HOAs. In Georgia, there are federal agencies, obviously federal. There's the Fair Housing Division of the Georgia Commission on Equal Opportunity. GREC, the Georgia Real Estate Commission, oversees agents and our interaction as well as association managers. There's the Office of the Attorney General and the Georgia Secretary of State. So back to a question at hand. Where can you get more information for your buyers regarding the HOAs, the covenants that do govern their living in owning a home in this neighborhood governed by an HOA? Well, one place you can go to is the Georgia Homeowners Association directory, and you can search under community name or subdivision name to find the association's contact information. Well, let me even back up. One of the best places to get this information would be from the current seller, the current owner. But there are a lot of owners that don't have copies of their CCRs. So again, the Georgia Homeowners Association directory would be a good place to go. And there are association records, and the actual CC&Rs do have to be logged. They are recorded as public documents and deeds in our courthouses for the counties in which a property is located. So you can go online to a county's deed books online and find the CCRs, or you can go to gsccca.org, gsccca.org, Georgia Superior Clerk of Courts Co-op Association. How do you even know what the name of the HOA is? Well, one of the places that you could go to even start with, because you got to figure out the name, would be the Georgia Secretary of State. If you go online to the Georgia Secretary of State and look under their corporations division, you can put in the name of the subdivision. That would be a good starting point to find out, and you will get the HOA. Typically, an HOA is incorporated. You can get from the Georgia Secretary of State, you can do a business search for the HOA, and you will find the name of the secretary and perhaps the CEO or the CFO. So that will at least give you a name. Back to the actual CCRs, where can you get them? Well, you can get them online, or as I mentioned, gsccca.org. If you go to gsccca.org, you would do a search, and you as an agent can pay for this service, or many brokers. I know at Maximum One Realty, we as a broker pay for this for our agents, so our agents don't have that fee. So if you're with a different brokerage, you'll have to check with your broker, or you as an agent, you can also pay for this service. But you log into GSCCA and you do a real estate index search for the HOA. And when you do that, you will find the HOA and all of the documents that are associated with that HOA as recorded in the courthouse. And when you're on that website, you can click on view image and it will show you, you will get an actual copy of the recorded CCRs, covenants, conditions, and restrictions. And then you can print them. There is a printing charge from GSCCA, or you can screenshot them. But that is how you as an agent can get access to the CCRs, and then you get them to your buyer so that your buyer may review them, understand them, and understand what restrictions, if any, there are prior to going through with the purchase of a home in Georgia. Now, additionally, there are some other documents that you as the agent can would want to make sure to get into your buyer's hands. And again, these are some consumer brochures that GAR, Georgia Association of Realtors, has made readily available for us as agents. And one of them is the consumer brochure number 16, what to consider when buying real property in a community association. This is a great, just a simple 2-page brochure that talks about what an HOA is, how a buyer can determine if the HOA is well run, are there special costs or fees typically paid by buyers in a community with an HOA, so forth and so on. And there is another brochure if your buyer is purchasing a home that is a condominium, meaning condominium ownership as opposed to fee simple ownership, that goes on to describe what it actually means when a buyer is buying a condo. A lot of public people as well as agents think that condominium refers to a particular style, whether a property be attached or unattached, 1 story or 2 stories, but condominium refers to ownership as opposed to fee simple, which is another type of ownership for property here in Georgia. So again, I encourage you as an agent, just wanted to do a quick video tip on that information so that you know where you can access this information to get into the hands of your buyer so that your buyer may perform their own due diligence in understanding what the HOA allows, doesn't allow, any fees involved, so forth and so on, with respect to purchasing a home that is governed by a homeowners association. Woo. Thank you guys so much for watching. Dana Sparks, broker of Maximum One Greater Atlanta Realtors and the director of the Real Estate Academy of America, satisfying your needs with service, innovation, and education. Bye. If you like that video, check out the one here. If you like the content on this entire channel, please click here to subscribe. I try to take even the most complicated of real estate situations and make them crystal clear. See what I did there? Real estate made crystal clear. Thank you guys so much for watching.